Welcome back to MMAOddsBreaker. Today we have Belal Muhammad getting ready to face off against Steve Carl in Titan FC 38. For those of you who don't know about Mr. Muhammad, he is 8-0, still undefeated. Just beat up Zain Kamaka back in Titan FC 35 back in September of 2015. So I talked to Steve just a little bit ago, your opponent, and I was like, is there more pressure being added to you because you're facing off against a guy that's undefeated? And his first response was, no, actually the pressure's on him because he's still undefeated. So he's the one that's got to get to 9-0 where he's 22-4. He doesn't really think about, he's already got 4 losses. He's not really thinking about that kind of mindset. Do you put added pressure on yourself because you still are undefeated?
No, I don't really put added pressure on myself. I mean, you're going to have the pressure no matter what of just winning the fight. Like, I go into every fight differently. I don't think, man, I'm undefeated. I didn't want to lose my record or anything like that. Because if that was the case, I'll just fight Kansas the whole time. Like, I just want to keep bettering my resume and keep fighting better guys every time. So,
and you go through, you look at the list. AJ Matthews, Zain Kamaka, like I said earlier, Keith Johnson. You fought some pretty tough opponents, but unfortunately, from a fan standpoint, of your 8 victories, 6 are decisions. So you have to always go deep in the deep waters to get them. And then you have 2 TKOs, but they were like a year and a half ago since you had your last TKO. You're getting into a system all of a sudden, it looks like from the couch that we're sitting on, it looks like, he's starting to become like a point guy. He's starting to become a guy he's going out there just to he's doing enough to win every single fight. He wins decisively, you win easily, but it seems like you don't really have that fighter instinct. So now that's what it looks like to the fans from us here at home. What's it actually going on inside the cage, inside your own head?
It's not like I'm sitting there going for points or anything like that. I'm trying to finish. I'm trying to work for it, but I'm not going to sit there and force the situation. If it comes, it comes. But if I'm dominating my opponent no matter what, and they're good guys that I'm dominating, they're just hard to finish. But I'm not going to go in there headhunting or anything like that, trying to force the issue and then get caught with something. I'm still going in there. I'm not like holding, laying, and praying or anything like that. I'm still going in there, putting pressure on, hitting them, doing everything I can to finish the fight.
Do you feel like, I know you feel like this is a worthy battle. I know you think Steve Carl's going to be a great opponent, but do you think this is a slight step up in competition for you, or do you think it's a lateral step up in competition for you?
My last 3 guys were all pretty tough. I think in experience-wise, he probably has the most experience, but like I said, all my last 3 guys all really had really good records, and I beat the current CES champion, Curtis right now, but I mean, every fight I want to take a step up in competition, and I think Steve Carl's going to do that for me.
At 8-0, you're still fighting in Titan FC, and Titan is a feeder league, for the big leagues. Bellator, and obviously for UFC. Titan is kind of one of the farm leagues that the UFC pays attention to, and a lot of times there are UFC brass in the crowd watching. They're live watching these fights happen. Is there any part of you that's like, I got to make sure I got to put on a big show now because I'm getting 8-0. By the time I get to 10-0, someone's going to be calling me up to move up to the big show. Is there an added sense of, hey, I got to put on a little bit more of a performance in this next fight coming up because they could be looking at you to move up to the UFC or move up to Bellator soon?
Yeah, with it being main event, I know there's going to be a lot of eyes on it. So I know that I want to put on a show and I want to be like exciting for the crowd and stuff like that. So that's like the only pressure. I'm not really like, I don't want to scout or anybody in the audience. It's more just so that I want to win. I want to make the crowd happy.
How do you see Steve Carl as an opponent? You say he's got a lot more experience than most of the guys you fought, but you kind of made the sense of like he's not as tough an opponent coming in than you fought in like Zain Kamaka or in Chris Curtis. How do you see him as a fighter? Not so much as the mentality or the emotional sense of being in the fight, but physically, like what kind of fighter do you think he's going to be when he faces off against you?
I mean, he's a gritty guy. He's going to go in there, and I think he looks strong grappling. And, he's not afraid to throw punches, so I think he's going to go in there and just try to make it a grappling match. But I'm not afraid to make it a grappling match. I'm not afraid to go to the ground with anybody or anything like that.
Yeah, you seem to do pretty well when you're on the ground, even though you do try to keep it on your feet as much as possible. Is there a reason why that happens? Like, why do you always try to keep it on your feet even though your grappling is a lot better than people think it is?
Yeah, people really don't know about my grappling yet. So, like, I really haven't had to show it on the big thing. And then my last couple of fights, I've been just comfortable on the feet. I've been working at Milwaukee with Duke Rufus and them, and like they really helped my game out a lot. So it's just more just being comfortable in there and like just having fun.
Now, we've seen some photos of the Pettis brothers who usually train at Rufus's gym up there in Milwaukee. They were down at Greg Jackson Winklejohn's camp in Albuquerque for a little while doing some training. Is there, when you go over there, do you train with the Pettis brothers? Are they in the room at the same time, or did you miss them on this last trip?
Oh yeah, no, we were in there. They only went there the last couple of weeks, but like the first 4 weeks of their camp, they were in there with me too, and we were all just putting in work. And then like Askren was in there having his camp too. Ben Askren, he's fighting next week too. So
Yeah, he's got a big one of few titles fight coming up again. Ben Askren does. How tough is it going into it? Going out to Milwaukee and getting into a camp and hanging out with Rufus, and all of a sudden be like, every time you go in, there's a bunch of new guys. There's some new guys that have either moved in or have come back for their own training camps, and it's like it seems now. I've never been over there, but it seems like it's a lot of throwing everybody to the wolves when you get out there because everybody in there is so talented. There's no real light, easy round because everybody's really good.
yeah, that's the thing. Like they're all really good, but when you get over there, nobody really has the ego. So nobody's in there trying to knock you out. They're all like, honestly, they're all really good guys that try to help you no matter what. Like you spar with Pettis, something like that. He's not gonna go in there trying to knock you out every time. And if you see something that you're doing wrong, he'll help you out, give you tips.
Nice. So who is your main training partner over at Rufus getting ready for this fight against Steve?
I was going with a lot with Mike Biggie Rhodes, Gerald Mershart, who's also on Titan, Ben Askren, and then I was sparring a lot with Anthony Pettis.
How many times? How hard is it going with Ben Askren when you're doing stand up and you're able to strike at him? Are you able to keep him off you?
With them over there, it's they do it all, so it's all like MMA sparring. So it's not like just like a kickboxing day. They add it all in there, so then you get a couple hits on him, but then once he gets to the ground, it's the hardest guy to get off you.
Yeah, for sure. He's got a great style, great top game style. So, well, honestly, this fight, I think, if we're looking at it on paper, it's a big step up in competition for you against Steve, just because of experience, the named fighters that he's fought against, won and lost. But I think it's also a competition that you can handle. Where do you see yourself in a year from now? Probably thinking about Titan, you probably have 2 more fights, including this one, so it'll be 3 fights. But in a year from now, 2017, where do you see yourself?
Honestly, I see myself in the UFC, and I see me as a contender. Like I've gone to a bunch of different gyms around the world. I've been to TriStar, I've been to Muscle Farm, and I went with a lot of really good guys, and I've held my own with all of them. So I think once I get in, people are going to know who I am.
This interview won't be seen until a couple days before the fight, so there's nothing that Steve could use against you or that he could pick from this thing at all. If there's one thing that you wish you could spend more time on training wise, what's that one thing that would be in your training camps?
Maybe just more strength and conditioning. Like my conditioning is just through like going live, going active. I don't really put a lot of focus on going hard on weights or anything like that.
How much do you weigh right now?
I walk around like at 184, 185.
So you rate that cusp of making 170, like that's the upper limit kind of being comfortable to making welterweight. So you do have a little bit of space to add some more strength and conditioning. How come, like a lot of guys are like, I'm just too big, I can't do it, I have to cut weight to make weight kind of thing. But you're like right in that area. Is there a reason why you don't put much focus on strength and conditioning?
Just because I don't want to take away from my skill set. Because like I'll go in there. I used to do it where I was doing strength and conditioning, and then I'll go to practice and I'll be too tired to do anything just because I was lifting weights all week. So I'd rather just get more skills than weights.
That's actually a good approach. It's actually a smart approach. And it seems like, because to us, like I said, at home watching you on TV, it looks like you do strength and conditioning. You come in a little bit better shape every fight. You're a little bit more muscular every fight, but you get this from going live. I totally thought that you were hitting the weights a couple days a week at least.
Oh yeah, no, I really don't do no weights at all. It's just basically going live and wrestling.
Good, I like it. Thanks so much for coming on here. It's going to be a great fight. I'll be at home watching you guys do battle on Titan FC 38. You and Steve Carl is going to be a great fight for me to watch. I can't wait to see what happens. Good luck and have a great rest of your training camp.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Take care.
All right, bro.